WiseTech just cut 2,000 coding jobs. But why? Why would they do this? Because artificial intelligence, AI, fundamentally changes the way that software is written. This global logistics software giant, they have more than 7,000 employees worldwide. They just cut 29% of their staff because they are doubling, quadrupling, tripling down on artificial intelligence. Guys, AI fundamentally changes the way that code and software is written. But you don't just have to take it from me. I'm a regular guy. I'm in marketing and I do marketing for SaaS organizations and I've written some software before, but you don't just have to take it from me. Listen to what the CEO of WiseTech says. Zubin Appoo says, quote, "I am prepared to say this clearly. The era of manually writing code as the core act of engineering is over." There's a key here, he says, as the core act of engineering is over. And we'll circle back to that in just a moment. But check this out. He says, quote, "Some projects that once took 6 or 7 months can already be completed in 1 day." That is insane. The type of work that used to take 6 months can now be done in 1 day. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. If you're in software engineering, if you write any code, you need to seriously pay attention. And, listen, I get hundreds of comments on these videos, and it's really interesting to me. When I talk about coding, half the people say, AI just writes crap code and it's useless and it's all smoke and mirrors and it's all fugazi. And then the other half of software engineers are like, it's changing my life, it's writing all this code, I'm amazed. And I don't know who's right, but the CEO of WiseTech, a company with 7,000 employees, seems to think it's a big deal. But he's not the only one. I'm gonna give you more quotes here, guys. The WiseTech founder, Richard White, says, quote, "The era of manually written code is over." It's over. And I'm gonna give you more examples, so just hang tight with me, guys. Listen, dude, subscribers to the channel already know that this is happening. And what's amazing to me is when I go to parties or I go to events or I'm coaching my kids' baseball team, all I do is talk about AI with people. And the amount of people that are just completely asleep at the wheel is staggering. And occasionally people ask me, "Mark, why do you do this channel? Why are you talking about all these changes? Why is it so doom and gloom?" For the record, I'm not doom and gloom. I'm very optimistic about AI. However, we need to bring people along with us. People need to understand that this is happening. So in any event, that's the reason for the channel. It's to help men just like you remain relevant, respected, and financially free. And the first step of that is understanding the changes that are happening in the marketplace. Anyway, let's not get off topic. So what is WiseTech? WiseTech builds cloud-based logistics software, which enables logistics service providers to manage goods, data, and compliance across 195 countries. Guys, this is a big company. They're a big deal. They build this software that helps the companies. Basically, guys, what they do is they help build software. They build software that helps companies efficiently move products from point A to point B. And they're doing it at a big scale. This is one of the biggest in the world, one of the best in the world. And last year, WiseTech built out a bunch of AI agents into their CargoWise platform. That's kind of their flagship platform. So they built out all these software, these AI agents to their CargoWise platform, which is used by over 17,000 companies. So regardless, these guys know what they're doing. Okay, I think we can clearly state that they know what they're doing. And they're not the first company. We've seen this before because investors like it. Investors like it. And I want to talk a little bit about the critics here, but investors like it. The company shares after the announcement closed 11.1% higher. And the company also had reported a first half net profit of $114.5 million, which was ahead of the market consensus. And guys, this is kind of rhyming with a topic that we covered just a few days ago of Block. I'll post a link to it here. Block is essentially a fintech company. It was founded by Jack Dorsey. He also founded Twitter, and he's the co-founder over there. And basically they said, hey, we're cutting 4,000 employees. We're just using AI agents now. And investors liked it and the stock went up. And again, that was also coming from a position of strength. So we've got two companies here who are financially looking stable. They're financially looking solid. And they're saying, hey, we don't need all these employees anymore. We're just going to use AI to fill those gaps. Now, critics might say, well, Mark, this is all just marketing. They just want to change the narrative on a company that's dying. And there is some credibility to that. The stock has been in a tailspin since 2024, WiseTech stock. And this is all revolving around allegations the CEO's Richard White's office bullying and having some, let's say, extracurricular relationships with staff. Again, these are allegations. Anyway, he stepped down, they brought in a new CEO, and the stock has been in a bit of a tailspin. The company's been in a bit of a tailspin. And maybe the AI agents is that spark. Maybe this is that last gasp to turn their company around into a thriving AI agent-driven platform. But here's the deal, guys. What we're hearing from the guys over at WiseTech, they're not alone. They're not alone. Listen to what Elon Musk said. Elon Musk just earlier this week said, by the end of 2026, you won't even bother doing coding. AI does the binary directly. You probably heard of Elon. He's pretty good at what he does. He says that you're not going to be writing code anymore. It doesn't mean that you're going away, software engineers, so just hold on. At least I'll give you my interpretation of what all this means. But Elon says that you're not going to be writing code directly. But guess what? There's more. He's not even alone. The Stripe founder, Patrick Collison, recently said, quote, software has been created years beforehand, freeze-dried, and then prepared at the moment of consumption. Basically, he says, the old model is frozen pizza. You go to Walmart, you get your Red Baron, and then it's been prepared for the masses. Nice, lots of preservatives. I know you love that. And you throw it in the oven. But what Patrick says is that is not the future of software. He says the new model for software is pizza, fresh pizza made to order right then, right there. The new era of software is personalized, custom, bespoke software written specifically for each organization, because you're going to be able to write code so fast. And this is going to open up tons of new opportunities, tons of new problems that need to be solved. I definitely don't think, listen, if you've been writing code, if you're a software engineer, if you've been doing this for years, I think your life is actually about to get a lot better. If you're overseas and you write code, your life can get a lot better if you adjust, if you adapt, and you recognize that the problems that you were solving before are not going to be the problems that you're solving in the future. Because the reality is that not everyone is going to be able to write software, right? You can't just plug and play anyone and say, hey, Jenny, our secretary, is just going to start writing all the software for our company. That's not what's going to happen, okay? That's not what's going to happen. And listen, like I mentioned earlier, I've personally built some software. I've used Replit. I've done some vibe coding. It's fun. It looks really good on the front end. It's very exciting because that dopamine rush, like, oh, I just wrote this whole piece of software. This is pretty cool. And it works a little bit, but it has holes. There's context issues. The database schema is cruddy. There's security problems. You're going to need someone that understands software engineering and architecture to set this up, right? And if you do know how to do that, you're going to be able to get the work done very, very quickly. I'm going to give you an example. I was talking to, on a podcast I was running, I was talking to Chris Do, and he's the founder of Blind, which is a design company. And he's excellent, very good at what he does. You've probably heard of Chris. Shout out to Chris Do. Anyway, what he would say, what he wants to do is help creators make more money. And so what he would do is kind of say, well, there's this belief that the longer it takes you to do something, the more value there is to it. But it's actually the opposite. The faster you can execute something, the more valuable you are. And he gave this example where he would get a project from a customer, he would work really hard, really fast, he'd turn it around in a couple days, and then the person who hired him said, well, why did I pay you all this money? It didn't take you that long to do it. And Chris would say, well, if you want, I could just do the work, I could send it to you in 2 or 3 weeks. Would that make it more valuable to you? That's not the way the value works. Value is driven by quality and speed. And so if you're able to leverage AI tools to write code, to build software that's more customized, and you can do it faster, that actually doesn't decrease that value, your value, it increases your value. I hope that's tracking. I hope that's tracking, because there is this kind of belief that, well, I don't want to train AI to replace my job. And sure, you don't want your manager, your owner to come in and just use AI to review everything that you're doing and then just replace you. No, what you want to do, what I want to do, is use AI myself so that I can train it to do my job more quickly, more efficiently. I want to replace the stuff. Like, for example, if I used to write an entire email blast for, I don't want to write that email blast. I want to use a program like Claude Cowork to scrape all the previous emails from my company or my companies to see which emails had the highest open rate, which emails had the best click rate, what are the most effective hooks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I want to say, okay, now I want you to write me a bunch of new emails based on your learnings. That's what I want to do. And because if I'm able to replace my job, well, I'm able to scale up. I'm able to do that more effectively. I hope is this tracking, guys? This idea that, if something takes longer to do, it's more valuable. It's actually the opposite. It's actually the opposite. And again, that is what we're seeing with software, with coding. And you may disagree. You're welcome to disagree. But that's what I see, and that's what I'm hearing. Because the reality, guys, is here's the deal. It's not just software engineering that's changing. It's not just writing code that's changing. It's everyone. Everyone is impacted. And when you look at a company like WiseTech, it's not just going to be coders that are laid off. It's the data entry clerks. It's the shipment coordinators. It's the document processors. It's the junior, the entry career level guys, the junior compliance analysts. They're going to be at risk. Any job that's processing data, any job that's typing in a keyboard, any job that's reviewing data and looking for trends, looking for common denominators, those jobs are going to fundamentally change. AI is exceptionally good at looking at all that data and making decisions. And again, when it comes to coding, I don't think you guys are wrong when you say, well, it's choppy and it's got holes. I've experienced that. Security issues and, it doesn't remember context. I would just, listen, I get it. That's why we need you guys, the software engineers, the guys that know what they're doing, to use these tools to be hyper efficient and hyper effective. Because as you become better and faster at writing code, at building custom solutions, I'll give you an example. And this is, when Claude Cowork had its most recent update last month, the entire SaaS world went crazy. We had a SaaS apocalypse, and we covered it on this channel. I'll post a link to that video here about all these SaaS stocks tumbling. The reason why this is happening is because historically, like Patrick Collison says, software has been written to be mass produced. You write one huge software and you just pump out the same thing, and people will pay based on the features that they want. And by the way, you get when you buy something, you get a ton of features that you don't want. It's not just you only buy what you want a la carte. No, you get a ton of stuff. And I could go into marketing reasons why that happens, but you're getting a ton of stuff that you probably never use. I guarantee you, if you look at the software that you're using, you're probably only using 30% of the features. The other 70% you're paying for, but you don't use. And then you're paying for seats. We have a contract with a big CRM company and with one of the companies that I work with. I won't name the CRM, but we have to pay for all these seats. And then if we lay someone off or we use AI to replace that task or that job, we say, well, now we don't need that seat. They're like, you already signed a contract. You got to pay for the seat. I'm like, okay. Well, hey, there's all these features that we don't use. Like, can we get a discount? Nah, it's part of your package. We get 3 packages. That's not the way that the future of software is going to look, according to Patrick Collison. What Patrick Collison says is, if you don't want mushrooms on your supreme pizza, you don't need mushrooms on your supreme pizza. You want a vegetarian pizza? We got you. You want gluten-free? All good. You want a carnivore pizza? We got you. You're going to be able to custom order exactly what you want. And the software engineers that understand how to write code very quickly, how to use AI agents to create software quickly, are going to become hyper valuable, because every single company in the world is going to want their own fresh baked pizza. And who's going to deliver it to them? You are. All right, boys, I hope you liked today's video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And check out yesterday's video where we talk about why everybody is betting huge on India. Hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars are being poured into India. But why? And what does that mean for us? Well, you're gonna have to watch the video to check it out. All right, guys, I'll see you there. Peace.